I am huge into traveling. Ever since my diagnosis, have decided that we are going to travel the world. After I finished my chemo in 2022, we did a 7-day cruise to Alaska in May of 2022, and it was amazing.
Niccole has traveled the world with a new perspective.
Live your life. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know who's going to make it until what age.
And new fears.
I get up every day. Back of my mind is going, okay, something hurts. Is it coming back? I am Niccole. I am a stage 4 stomach cancer survivor.
First, she blamed her symptoms on work stress and getting older.
We used to like to go and enjoy margaritas with the girlfriends for, this type of things. And I was getting really, really sick. So we would go out and I would have a drink and I would be literally like in agonizing pain. I remember there were a couple of times I went with, we went out with some couples and went to have drinks, and they were going to go out afterwards after we did dinner and stuff, and they were going to go to another place, and I had to go home because I was literally I was curled up in the fetal position because my gut felt so bad. So that was kind of the start of it. I had lost a little bit of weight, but it wasn't significant. It wasn't, a super extreme weight loss. I was struggling a little bit with getting full faster. And then it kind of progressed. I started to get a lot of acid reflux, and I had never experienced acid reflux before. And it got to the point where I couldn't even lay down in my bed anymore. And I would have to go and I would sleep actually in our living room on the sofa because the sofa was able to prop me up where I wasn't laying down. Because if I laid down, I would wake up actually vomiting in my mouth. Um, and so I had started to take some over-the-counter medications. I took it for the 14 days and it made me feel a little bit better. And so I was like, okay, this is great. I'm feeling good. The acid reflux had kind of calmed down. And then as soon as I came off of it, it got severely worse. To the point where if I ate anything by mouth, if I put even drinking water, made me vomit. Like it was making me so sick.
Niccole went to a GI specialist and her primary care doctor, who ordered a stomach ultrasound.
The tech that did it, she's like, when was the last time you ate? I'm like, I followed your directions. I haven't eaten or drank anything in the last 12 to however many hours. I was like, why? And she's like, because your stomach is completely full. And it is like she showed me the picture and it was like big and full. And so I was advised to go to the ER, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to go spend $1,000 at the ER when, the estimate for doing this endoscopy was like $700-800. I'm like, I'll just go back to the GI. I went on a Wednesday for my scope. Friday, he had me in for a CT. The following Monday, he had me connected and in with his oncologist partner, who I still see today. Thursday, they had me in for a diagnostic laparoscopy and to place my port. And this was all done before we even had my pathology back. My oncologist, he's like, you're either going to be a stage 2 or a stage 3, depending on what they find when they send us back.
Even though she knew it was likely cancer, the official diagnosis was a shock.
When I got that call, I had a panic attack. I almost felt like I was going to black out. I couldn't move my hands. And so like I was trying to text my boyfriend when I got this, and I'm like, oh my God, just really freaking out about it. And I'm very blessed that I have some friends that live really close to me. And so instead of me calling 911, I ended up getting a girlfriend that came over, and I had a couple friends that ended up coming and visiting with me and kind of soothing me and calming me down. But it was a freaky experience. I'll tell you what, it's it's not an easy diagnosis to get. I ended up being a stage 3. My stomach cancer was at the base of my stomach. So it was covering my pyloric sphincter. So that was why nothing was going in or going through, and it was all coming back up because nothing could pass into my small intestine to go anywhere. So, I wasn't passing bowel or doing any of those types of things.
Niccole got more tough news when she met with her surgeon.
He's going to have to get clear margins and come up to wherever he gets clear. He may have to take my entire stomach. That was freaky in and of itself and I was like, well, what if the chemo works? Because we're having a conversation of both. We start with chemotherapy and then we go into doing surgery if chemo shrinks, because essentially what their plan is we'll start with the chemo, shrink your tumor, And then we'll go in and he'll do the stomach removal to whatever portion he needs to do, whether it be 30, 40, 50, 100% of your stomach will be removed. My biggest question was, how am I going to live without a stomach? It's one of your most needed organs for, processing food and nutrition and all those types of things. And, there's definitely ways around that stuff because I'm still here. I'm coming up on 4 years celebrating my 80% removal of my stomach and my gallbladder come November 4th of this year. It's 4 years. And when we did my endoscopy before my surgery plan, my tumor was completely gone. So I was very blessed that my response to the chemotherapy was pretty much 100%. He ended up going in and doing an 80% removal of my stomach. They brought my small intestine up and attached it up by my esophagus to whatever is remaining of my stomach up there. And then he created a little pouch for me. So I no longer I just literally have a little pouch that they made with a hole in it that goes down into my small intestine. And he also removed my gallbladder at that time too.
Niccole was declared no evidence of disease after finishing treatment. A year later, a PET scan revealed the cancer came back, stage 4.
I was in for my total hysterectomy, and that surgery turned into it was estimated to be a 1.5 hour surgery and turned into 4 hours. And he brought in a second surgeon because I had metastases to my ovaries, into my tubes, my peritoneal. It was on my spleen, my liver, and we did end up finding out that there was some in my small bowel. But that surgeon, again, I have been very blessed with my team of doctors because he could have easily been like, I'm not touching this. With the amount of stuff that he found in there that had metastasized down in that area, but he was good enough that he brought in somebody else to help him, and they removed everything that they could in his scope for my hysterectomy, and then we proceeded on to start me on chemotherapy again. I talked to my oncologist about doing the HIPEC surgery. He did open HIPEC with CRS, so cytoreductive surgery. So he went in and he removed all of the tumors that he could see or cancerous things that were questionable that he could see, along with doing a splenectomy. So they removed my spleen. He removed 2 feet worth of my small intestine, the spot that was on my liver, and anything else he could find. So that was my big surgery that I had back in November last year. Right now, the plan is he'll have me on the immunotherapy for 2 years.
Niccole spent years learning to navigate her new, challenging lifestyle.
Losing your stomach is huge. When they first did my stomach removal, I had to change. I couldn't. There were a lot of things that I couldn't do, or I couldn't eat, I should say. You have to be very conscientious on what you're putting into your body, which I mean, we all should be. The first 6 to 8 weeks after my stomach removal, I couldn't eat any sort of like bread products or pastas or, those types of things. I couldn't have coffee because it would just put me in the bathroom. Now 4 years out, I've gotten used to my new way of eating and drinking. Because I have to have a plan, and I feel like I'm always continually thinking about eating because I have a very small, um, I don't have a stomach, so I have to continually eat throughout the day. It's always in the back of my mind of when is the next reoccurrence going to happen. I'll be completely honest. Like I live my life and I live my life to the fullest, but it's always going to be there. So like when people ask me or, when we talk about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been NED since last year, they're like, oh, congratulations, that's great. And I'm like, yeah, uh-huh, it is. And I'll live my life to the fullest and I will do everything every day. And I tell people that, we could all walk out tomorrow and get hit by a car. I mean, to be honest, but I feel like I live my life differently because I know that I may not make it another 20 years.
After everything she's been through, Niccole now wants to help others through mentorship and advocacy.
I'm really, really involved with Debbie's Dream Foundation Curing Stomach Cancer. So I do mentorship with them. People want or need the help for treatment. We actually go to Washington, D.C. every year to talk to our legislature to make sure that they continue funding for stomach cancer research, and make sure they allocate funds to our specific disease. Because stomach cancer is one of the top 5 deadliest diseases, yet it receives a very minimal amount of funding, for on a research basis. I also am a part of a smaller group called Hope for Stomach Cancer, and they also do a lot of education.
Her biggest advice: advocate, travel, and live life.
Do it passionately, get a second opinion, talk to people, get advice. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Just because you think they're dumb doesn't mean they are, because there are no dumb questions, because we're all still learning. There's still a lot of research to be done about stomach cancer and how it starts and the different gene mutations, and ask questions so that you can live your life.
Thank you, Niccole, for sharing your story. If you connected with their story, we've queued up another one we think you'll enjoy. It's right here on your screen. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the patient story so you can be part of our community. You are not alone. Thanks for watching.